And my eyes see Oppenheimer. Yes.
Alright, the Academy Awards have happened. Here are my thoughts. Let's get into it. Unlike previous years, the Academy Awards this year were actually quite a pleasant to watch overall. I mean, we had some great musical performances. I liked pretty much all of them except for the Flamin' Hot one. A lot of the monologues and jokes that were delivered by a bunch of people, predominantly Jimmy Kimmel, were okay. There were some pretty cringy ones, but other than that, it was fine. John Mulaney definitely needs to host the Oscars. So many people have said that, and I'm no different. The joke that he said before the sound win was hilarious. So please, let's get this man to host the Academy Awards next year. Let's get into the actual movies though, because I think this was a really good Oscars in terms of winners. I pretty much wanted almost every single thing that won to win, apart from a couple of things. But even so, there was nothing I was offended over. That were mostly just great moments. Even some of the more shocking moments that I thought were going to garner a lot of controversy, like Emma Stone's Best Actress win, that was my pick to win. So I was pretty stoked at that. Obviously, Oppenheimer was my favorite movie of the year, and it's not often that my favorite movie of the year ends up getting really any Oscar nominations, let alone a win for Best Picture. So for me, I was really, really excited to see Christopher Nolan finally get his first Academy Award. I mean, it has been a long time coming. He should have so many more by now, but I'm glad that the Academy has finally woken up and given him his dues here. What an absolutely amazing moment to see him win that. And the same thing can be said for Oppenheimer winning Best Picture. I know it was a boring Oscars in terms of predictions. Everyone knew pretty much from the moment that Oppenheimer won at the Golden Globes that it was going to go all the way and win Best Picture. And it did. And it swept the entire way through. Every single precursor, it won the big award at the end. And yes, that makes for a boring time when it comes for predictions because everyone knows that that's what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it was the best movie. And I'm not going to take away or be less excited about Oppenheimer winning Best Picture just because it wasn't a shock. It definitely deserved it. And as we look back on the history books in 2023, Oppenheimer deserves to be recognized as the best movie of the year because it definitely was. All the acting categories weren't really shocks either. Divine Joy Randolph has swept the entire award season, so pretty happy to see her win. She was great in The Holdovers, very well deserved. Robert Downey Jr. was my pick and prediction to win this Academy Award, and he swept the whole way through and finally won his first Oscar. So I'm really stoked for him to finally get that recognition. Cillian Murphy as well, definitely the best lead performance of the year for a male actor, and he definitely deserved it. And so glad to see him get that too. And then, as I said, Emma Stone, maybe my favorite performance of the entire year. Man, woman, supporting lead, it doesn't matter. She was probably my favorite. An incredible transformative performance. And what is going to make this so funny, seeing Poor Things win as many Academy Awards as it did, because that was the shocker, I thought. The fact that this won 4 Oscars when some people were thinking Poor Things might go home empty-handed. And because it's won Oscars, I think it's going to draw some more attention to that movie. And as these things tend to happen, when you get a really bold artistic movie, you get a lot of people who don't really watch too many movies, check it out, and absolutely hate it. So I cannot wait for, I am sure, some very logical takes when it comes to Poor Things in the next few weeks. It's going to be a blast. Zone of Interest winning International Feature was not a shock. Jonathan Glazer gave a pretty moving speech, as well as the speech for 20 Days in Mariupol winning Best Documentary. If you've seen that documentary, that is a very harrowing movie. Probably one of the most graphic movies I have ever seen. The things you see in that, I will never, ever forget. And when he says, I would gladly take back this Oscar for basically what they've lost in the Ukraine, it was definitely moving after you've seen what he has seen through that documentary. But in terms of awards, surprisingly, the one that just got the best reaction out of me was Wes Anderson finally winning his first Oscar for The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. I mean, of course, I would have loved to have seen him win at some point for a feature-length film. I was so disappointed that Asteroid City didn't get any nominations at all, because that was one of the best movies of the year. And it's always a shame, being a Wes Anderson fan, really seeing him not get the attention he deserves from the Academy, except for the Grand Budapest Hotel when they really went for him. So to see that finally turn around a little bit and him getting an Academy Award for this short film was absolutely amazing. I kind of find it fitting too, because he's made so many short films. He's quite prevalent in that space, just as he is with feature-length films. And The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is an amazing short that, if you haven't seen yet, you should definitely check it out. It was a little bit disappointing that he wasn't there and he couldn't have a speech, because I probably would have teared up a little bit seeing him win that Oscar and taking it up on stage and giving an amazing speech. I've followed his journey as a filmmaker pretty closely. I've read a lot about him. He's probably the filmmaker that I've studied the most, and it just felt really moving for him to finally get that recognition. Anyway, here is my pure reaction to that moment.
The Wonderful Story
Yes!
of Henry Sugar.
Let's go! Let's go!
Overall, it was a pretty good show. There was just a good amount of fun moments, some bizarre moments, some weird cringy moments that are going to become iconic. I mean, the way that Al Pacino announced the Best Picture win was hilarious. That was probably the funniest moment of the entire night, and it was so unintentional. I loved it. But anyway, those are just my general thoughts towards the winners and the show in general. Let me know what you guys think about the Academy Awards this year in the comments below. Do you think the show's gotten better? What would you like to see from it in the future? And are you happy with these wins? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.